Hey guys, I'm going to continue reading chapter 8, and Jimmy Fargo and Peter Hatcher just admitted to each other that Peter used the Kreskin's crystal. He was using it to sleep at night, and Jimmy Fargo was using the rock. So now I'm going to continue reading. It says, so I guess we're even, I said. I guess so, but he didn't sound as if I were the world's greatest friend anymore. I saw a painting by your father today, I told him. Ready to change the subject? The white one with the black circles and the red square. Oh, that one, he said. My father painted that one right before my mother left for Vermont. One night they had this big fight and she threw red paint on the canvas. That's how the red square got on there, and that's why it's called Anita's Anger. I didn't know what to say because Jimmy never talks about his parents' divorce. So I changed the subject again. Do you know how much it cost? $2,500. Can you believe that anybody would pay so much for that? Shows how much you know about art, Peter. It sounded as if he had something in his mouth again. Pretzels, I thought? My father's last 3 paintings were sold for over $2,000 a piece. So before you go around opening your big fat mouth, you should find out what you're talking about. And hung up. Great, just what I needed. My friend hanging up on me. He probably won't call me back. Maybe he will, but he didn't. I waited until Halloween afternoon to call him. It's me, I said. I'm sorry. About what, he said. You know, about the price of your father's paintings. Oh, that. It just so happens that my parents are thinking about buying it. Which one? You know, Anita's Anger. Oh, that one. You should tell them to buy a different painting. Anita's Anger is a ripoff. Even my father says so. But you said... I know what I said. For a minute, neither one of us spoke. Finally, I said, so what are you going to do for Halloween? The usual, he said. Nothing. How about you? I'm taking Fudge trick-or-treating. How'd you get roped into that? I volunteered. You volunteered? I think he was chewing a piece of gum this time. You weren't kidding when you said everything's changed. He was chewing gum. I could tell he was blowing a bubble, and I thought I heard the pop when the bubble broke. My mother and father were surprised when I told them I'd take Fudge trick-or-treating, but Alex said he'd come with me as long as he didn't have to walk next to Fudge or hold his hand crossing the street or anything gross like that. Besides, we planned to take him out early, bring him home, and then go out by ourselves. And I knew how badly he wanted to go with us, and not with Mom and Dad like all the other kindergarten babies. Alex called for me at 6:30. And when I saw him, I couldn't believe it. He was wearing a costume, a sheet decorated with black circles and one red square. I'm Anita's Anger, he said. You like it? He turned around a couple of times, holding his arms out. It's different, I said. What are you? He asked. Me, I said. I was wearing jeans and a flannel shirt, the same clothes I'd worn to school that day. He's a 6th grader, Fudge said, and Tootsie's a baby, and Turtle's a dog, and Mommy's a mommy, and Daddy's a daddy. But I'm a scary, scary ghost. Ooh. Fudge swooped across the room. You mean you're not going to wear a costume? Alex asked. Not even a mask? Sure I am, I said. It's, upstairs. Wait a minute and I'll go get it. I raced up the stairs and found Mom changing Tootsie. Where's Fudge's disguise? I asked her. She looked blank. The one he sent away for, 4 cereal box tops and 25 cents. Oh, that disguise, Mom said, sprinkling baby powder on Tootsie's backside. I'm not sure. But, Mom, I need it right away, so please try to remember. I thought you weren't dressing up this year. I changed my mind, and Alex is downstairs waiting. Let's see, Mom said, fastening Tootsie's clean diaper. It could be in with Fudge's toys. He always liked the disguise. He's always liked that disguise. Look in the closet in his red toy box. I ran down the hall to Fudge's room and threw open his closet door. The red toy box. Let's see, here it is. I dragged it out and rummaged through it, and there at the very bottom, in a Pepperidge Farm cookie box, were the black eyeglass rims attached to a rubber nose, and the stick-on beard and mustache. I also found an old hat that once belonged to Grandfather Hatcher. I smoothed it out and put it on, along with Fudge's disguise. I checked myself in the bathroom mirror, then ran downstairs. That's mine, Fudge said when he saw me in it. No, I'm just borrowing it for a few hours. No, no, no. No, I said. Okay, then you don't get to go trick-or-treating with me and Alex. You can go with Daddy like all the other kindergarten babies. Goodbye. I flung off the glasses and the rubber nose, tossed them aside, and acted like I was really going to leave him without him. No, he cried. Come back, Peta. Not unless I get to wear the disguise. Okay, you can wear it, but it's still mine, right? Yeah, sure, it's yours. I looked over at Alex, who was shaking his head. Alex still can't figure out my family. We grabbed our UNICEF boxes and our pillowcases to hold our loot, and we left. We worked our way up one side of the street and then down the other. We got close to Mrs. Mulder's house. Alex said, maybe she'll give us some worms for treats. Worms? Fudge said. Yeah, Alex told him. She's very big on worms. So is Uncle Feather, Fudge said. Uncle Feather is a bird, I said. Why does everybody keep saying that? Fudge asked. I know Uncle Feather is a bird. He was quiet for a minute, and then he said, what does she do with her worms? You know, she feeds them. She eats them, Alex said. Really? Fudge asked me. We think so, I told him. We walked up to the path to Mrs. Mulder's house, and Alex rang the bell. If she gives us worms, we can feed them to Uncle Feather, Fudge whispered. Shh, I told him. Mrs. Mulder opened the door. She was wearing a jogging suit. Well, 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 she said. What a cute little ghost. I'm not cute. I'm scary, Fudge told her. Ooh. Mrs. Mulder clutched at her chest. Oh my, you're a scary ghost. Hi, Mrs. Mulder, Alex said. Hello, Alex. That's an unusual costume you're wearing. It's called Anita's Anger, Alex said. I got the idea from the painting I saw downtown. Mrs. Mulder turned away from us and called, Beverly, Beverly, come here. You got to see this. Right away, I knew it was her. Giraffe neck. I knew before I could even see her face. I knew by the way she walked from the other room to the front room and by her curly hair. This is my daughter Beverly, Mrs. Mulder said to us. Then she turned to Beverly and said, Alex is dressed as a painting. Can you guess which one? Beverly studied Alex for a minute. Well, with the white background, the black circles, and the red square, it must be Anita's Anger. Right, Alex said. I thought about telling Beverly about the night Jimmy Fargo's parents had that argument and how Mrs. Fargo dumped the red paint on Mr. Fargo's canvas, and how Mr. Fargo had named his painting Anita's Anger because Anita is Jimmy's mother. I thought about telling her the whole story, but then I remembered how I've told Jimmy things that I wouldn't have told anybody else, and I knew that if I were Jimmy, I wouldn't want my best friend telling the whole world about my family secrets. Do you really eat worms? Fudge asked out of nowhere. I gave him a kick, but that didn't stop him. Peta says you eat them all the time, and he knows everything because he's naturally smart, except for matching questions. Mrs. Mulder and Beverly looked at each other. Fudge continued. So do you? Do we what? Mrs. Mulder asked. Eat worms for supper. Alex let out a groan, and I could see our business going down the drain. Mrs. Mulder smiled at Fudge. Yes, we did, she told him. Beverly added, there's nothing like homemade baked worms, and my mother's recipe is the best. We eat them instead of cauliflower, said Mrs. Mulder. We need to get our vitamins one way or another. Are your worms fortified? Fudge asked. Alex groaned again. My worms are naturally fortified, Mrs. Mulder said. They're chock full of vitamins, no preservatives, nothing added, just the real thing. She was beginning to sound like a commercial for worms. I could hear the announcer saying, buy Mrs. Mulder's naturally fortified worms. They're chock full of vitamins. Grind them up in your favorite recipe. Blend them into your milkshakes. Serve them instead of cauliflower on those special occasions. Would you like to taste my very special worm cookies? Mrs. Mulder asked Fudge. Yes, Fudge said, following Mrs. Mulder into the house. We marched to the house, to the kitchen. On the counter was a big plate of cookies. Fresh out of the oven, Mrs. Mulder said. They're like chocolate chips, Fudge said. They are, Mrs. Mulder told him. Chocolate chip worm cookies. Which part is the worm? Fudge asked. Mrs. Mulder laughed. You can't see the worms. They're ground up, and I mix them into the flour. Just like my commercial, I thought. Go on, Mrs. Mulder said, offering the plate of cookies to Fudge. Take one. Fudge chose a cookie and held it up to his lips, but he hesitated, and I could see that he wasn't sure if he should really eat this chocolate chip worm cookie. Beverly took one and shoved it in her mouth all at once. She said, these are really good, Mother. She took another one and ate it quickly, too. Then she brushed the crumbs off her hand. Fudge bit into his cookie. He chewed it up very slowly. It's good, he said. You can't even taste the worms. Mrs. Mulder offered the plate to Alex and to me. We each took a cookie. Fudge asked if we could have another, and Mrs. Mulder said she'd do one better than that. She wrapped a little package of cookies for him to take with him. When we got home, Fudge jumped out his pillow on the dining room table. He arranged his loot in stacks and counted everything. 11 M&Ms, 7 Nestle Crunches, 5 Hershey's without almonds, 3 with, 2 Milky Ways, 1 granola bar, 4 apples, and 6 worm cookies. What did you say, Mom asked? Nothing. Nothing, Mom, I told her. He didn't say anything, did you, Fudge? Here, Mommy. Fudge said, have a cookie. Mrs. Mulder just baked them. Thank you, Mom said. She tasted it. Very good. I wonder where she got her recipe. It's been in her family a long time, I said. And they're naturally fortified with... I didn't give him a chance to finish. No preservatives, additives. They're naturally fortified and chocked with vitamins. Right, Fudge? Right, Pita, he said, smiling, and I knew that he understood. Chapter 9 is called Superfudge. Fudge has a friend. His name is Daniel. He's pudgy with a lot of red hair and ears that stick out more than mine. The first time I saw him, he was standing in front of Uncle Feather's cage, lecturing to Fudge. Myna birds are native to India and other parts of Asia. The common house myna is a bold, fearless bird, somewhat larger than a robin. Robin? Robin? Uncle Feather repeated. Shut up and listen, Fudge told Uncle Feather. Do you want to learn about yourself? Daniel continued. The myna is a noisy, sociable bird. I'll say, I said from the doorway, where I'd been listening. Daniel turned around and stared at me. Who are you? He asked. Peter, Fudge's older brother, I told him. Who are you? I'm Daniel Mannheim. I'm 6. I live at 432 Vine Street. You want to make something of it? He delivered the last sentence in a tough guy voice, so that it came out sounding like, you want to make something of it? Not especially, I told him, trying not to laugh. Daniel turned back to Uncle Feather. Many myna birds learn to imitate the human voice. They can talk, sing, and whistle. The common house myna is a genus, species A, Tritus. Daniel is a bird expert, Fudge said. So I see, I answered. Do you want to hear about the vulture? Daniel asked. Some other time, I told him. Daniel came for lunch on Saturday. Would you like peanut butter or tuna fish? Mom asked him. Tuna fish, Daniel said. You want to make something of it? No, Mom said, looking surprised at Daniel's tough guy line. Tuna fish will be just fine. Where's the TV? Daniel asked. I always watch TV while I'm eating. It's in the living room, Fudge said. You don't have a TV in the kitchen? Daniel asked. No, Mom said. We don't. I feel sorry for you, Daniel said, pushing back his chair. He stood up. I guess I'll have my lunch in the living room. We don't watch TV while we're eating, Mom said, so why don't you sit down and wait until lunch is ready? Daniel pouted. I won't have much of an appetite without the TV. If you're not hungry, you don't have to eat, Mom said. TV shouldn't have anything to do with it. I was thinking that it wouldn't hurt the kid to skip a couple of meals anyway. I watched The Muppet Show, Sesame Street, and The Electric Company, Fudge said, as if anybody cared. And all the commercials. I never miss commercials. They're my favorite. My father used to write commercials, but now he's writing a book. One time I was in a commercial. I rode a toddle bike. No, you didn't, Daniel said. I did too, Fudge told him. I don't believe you, Daniel said. Mom brought the tuna fish sandwiches and 2 glasses of milk to the table. I don't eat anything with onions, Daniel said. I don't eat lima beans or peas. I only drink chocolate milk, and I cut the crust off my bread. There are no onions, lima beans, or peas in the tuna fish, Mom said. I knew her voice was ready to tell Daniel exactly what he could do with his lunch if he didn't like it. But she walked back to the pantry and brought out the Choco. You can put as much in it as you like, she said, and cut off the crust of Daniel's sandwich. There, now. You should be all set. Wasn't I in a commercial, Mommy? Fudge said. Yes, Mom said. Fudge was in the toddle bake commercial. See, I told you. Did you get paid? Daniel asked. I don't know, Fudge said. Did I get paid, Mommy? I wasn't there, Fudge, you remember? I was visiting Aunt Linda with a new baby in Boston. Oh, that's right, Fudge said. So he asked me, did I get paid, Pita? You had all the Oreos you could eat, I said. I got Oreos, Fudge told Daniel. I hate Oreos, Daniel said. And I'll continue with chapter 8 tomorrow. I'm sorry, chapter 9, Superfudge. Bye, guys.